Wuhan, China, a sprawling city of 11 million people. It was here that coronavirus, our invisible, brutal enemy, was born, festering at least a month and a half before the world was told.
I don't think there's any dispute at all in terms of the scientific record that this virus made its original jump to the first human sometime in mid-November of last year.
Emerging diseases expert Laurie Garrett has been eyewitness to more than 30 frightening disease outbreaks, including Ebola and SARS. Like most New Yorkers, she's now restricted to her apartment in Manhattan, sheltering from coronavirus.
That's about 12.5 million human beings. So we're a little bit bigger than Wuhan. And I feel like that's what I'm looking at, America's Wuhan.
The epicenter of the coronavirus in the States at the moment.
I don't know if you hear it right now, but I hear 4 sirens right now outside. These are all ambulances. There goes another one.
Wuhan, mid-November, and first cases of a strange new flu start surfacing. From early December, Chinese authorities say the new virus has arisen from a local live fish and animal market. They're adamant it's not SARS or anything like it. Anyone who suggests otherwise is suppressed. On New Year's Eve, an official announcement. The closure of the wet market has stopped the spread of the disease, and there is no evidence of human-to-human infection of the virus. But as you'll see, that was not true.
From the very beginning, throughout December, it was spreading, and we now know it was spreading human to human. But the official line of the Chinese government was that this was all related to an animal market, and once they closed the market, it would all go away.
Did they know differently at that time?
Absolutely. Because they were seeing cases coming into the hospitals that had nothing whatsoever to do with that animal market.
A group of senior doctors at Wuhan Central Hospital was becoming more and more terrified by the cases they were seeing. Chief amongst them was Dr. Li Wenliang, the whistleblower who first tried to warn the world.
I'm sure history will record Li Wenliang as the hero of this entire pandemic. He recognized that he was seeing people with a bizarre form of pneumonia. He got into a chat room and said, "I think this looks SARS-like." So he posted this. That triggered every alarm in the system. So all 8 of the physicians, including Li Wenliang, were brought before the equivalent of a hospital tribunal and compelled to sign statements declaring themselves liars and that rumor mongers. And they were officially chastised, but they continued working, treating patients, and of course we all know Li Wenliang died as a result of COVID at the age of 34.
These days, everyone is talking about hormones and hormone replacement therapy. Hollywood stars, models, and celebrities rely on.
They are responsible for one of the worst global pandemics ever known to mankind. And it's happening right now, and it's destroying people. It's destroying lives, and it's destroying our economy.
US Congressman Michael McCall is the most senior Republican on the Foreign Affairs Committee and is former chairman of Homeland Security. He accuses China of deliberately hiding the truth.
Well, I've described it previously as the worst cover-up in human history. I think it was criminal, what they did.
But this isn't just a war between the US and China. Congressman McCall points to a respected independent newspaper based in Beijing, which uncovered shocking behaviour by Chinese government officials. It reported that testing labs that had cracked the code and identified the mystery flu as a new coronavirus strain were ordered to hand over or destroy their samples. They were not allowed to release their findings. When they're getting laboratories to actually destroy samples, I mean, the culpability of that is mind-boggling, isn't it?
It is. The Chinese Communist Party perpetrating this, going in, destroying samples, trying to cover this up. And the fact that 95% of this could have been stopped had we taken it seriously at the beginning and the World Health Organization been properly notified, they just could have contained and stopped this from happening.
But that chance was lost over a 2-week period. On January 7, a week after they identified the flu as a new coronavirus strain, Chinese officials informed the World Health Organization. But they advised that with just over 40 cases, they had it in hand and that it couldn't be transmitted from person to person.
We believe that they can also contain it.
The truth is, the epidemic was doubling in size weekly, and China knew it was being spread by human contact. It's just the rest of the world was kept in the dark.
Inside Wuhan, the people knew what was going on. Everybody was seeing the bodies being pulled out of apartments, and the ailing, just completely out of it on gurneys, being carried off to mysterious hospitals all over the place.
I can't believe China's blaming the US for this whole virus thing. What?
Place.
From January 7, the next 12 days are critical as China's Great Lie continues alongside its inaction. Had China acted immediately instead of covering up, it's estimated that 95% of the eventual pandemic could have been prevented, but it didn't. It's not until January 20 that China reveals the real rate of infection. Instead of a total 40 cases, they're now reporting more than 400 a day. And they finally admit what they've hidden for weeks. The deadly virus is contagious between humans.
By then, catastrophe is looming, and January 25 is the official lunar holiday, the biggest holiday in all of China, arguably the single biggest holiday on Earth, because more human beings move about within China in anticipation of the lunar holiday than any other occasion of internal movement anywhere in the world.
During January, President Xi Jinping was well aware of how deadly the situation was. Yet he made a decision that would ultimately condemn the world. He allowed 5 million people to leave the epicenter of the virus, to leave Wuhan without being screened for COVID-19, before he decided to impose a lockdown.
By the time they finally do that, we have a catastrophe on our hands. It's already spread to Singapore, to South Korea, to Japan. We're in the beginnings of the pandemic.
As China now tries to rewrite history and claim it was transparent all along, a final nail in the coffin of their lie. Just 2 weeks ago, the head of emergency at Wuhan Central Hospital, Dr. Ai Fen, also went public, saying authorities had stopped her and her colleagues from warning the world. She has now disappeared, whereabouts unknown. How squarely do you put the blame at the feet of that regime?
I'm arguing that this entire pandemic rests at the feet of two people, Xi Jinping and Donald Trump. The two most powerful men on earth, of the two most powerful and wealthy nations on earth, both of whom sought in their own ways to downplay the significance of the emergence of COVID-19. And really, both of them, I think, are to blame for allowing this to unfold in this horrible form.
This is the world's first touchscreen wireless nano-electric gun, allowing you to disinfect large areas all at once with its 200 milliliter water.
China has been working very hard to contain the coronavirus. The United States greatly appreciates their efforts and transparency. It will all work out well, in particular on behalf of the American people. I want to thank President Xi.
Incredibly, Donald Trump's gratitude and glowing endorsement of President Xi Jinping came after his own intelligence agencies had warned him China wasn't being open about an impending global outbreak of the virus.
We have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China, and we have it under control. It's going to be just fine.
Well, I've been working on this problem of emerging pandemics and epidemic threats almost my whole adult life.
Or is everything just Ebola?
And of course, I was one of the 3 scientific advisors for the movie Contagion. We really spent a lot of time thinking this through. And yet, now that it's really here, this is so far beyond what anybody ever imagined. I mean, we never imagined the entire world economy collapsing.
What did they die of, the 3? Reports are vague. Seizures, comas.
We've reached out to the WHO, see what they know.
So in your imaginings, is your government responding the way you imagined it would? Is it responding the way it should?
I'm sorry. We made a big mistake with that movie because we never imagined an incompetent American government. So in all of our plotting, government was actually the hero. It was intervening to save the people. And that's just not the way it's worked out. We've now had the president say openly on more than one occasion that he's weighing in the balance the future of the stock market against dead bodies in this country.
For Donald Trump not to take this more seriously sooner, what is the cost to your nation and your people?
Well, I think it caught some by surprise how quickly it spread and how fast it did. But scientists have been looking at this for quite some time, and I think that I don't blame the president. I blame the Chinese Communist Party for this. And I know the president's been briefed on this. I can tell in his latest briefings, you can tell him getting more and more agitated with China because he's realizing now the ramifications of what they did.
Laurie Garrett says the whole world will be ravaged by COVID-19. And so her prediction, sobering and dire, extends to Australia.
What you're experiencing right now is not really the major assault on Australia. That will come with July and August. So when you go into your winter, that's when COVID will really hit you.
So even the actions we're taking now, where we're in virtual lockdown, we're still going to get hit. We can't avoid it.
I don't think so. I think you're taking reasonable steps now, but you've not really had the brunt end of this. And that's yet to come.
What makes this so awful is that this could have been avoided.
This ring here is worth $1 million. And I know you're probably thinking, well, it's made out of gold or platinum or it's designed at Tiffany's, and
Absolutely. Absolutely. And China knows it, which is why they're working so hard to create a different narrative that doesn't put the blame on Beijing.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the